Okay, what up, friendos? I figured I'd just record this to, update people if they've not been following along with the Fntastic saga, the return of the day before scammers, after scammers, because they didn't take any money, not from the public anyway. There's, I guess, speculation that the real scam happened with investors and things like that and companies like Nvidia. But that's not for us to say. Obviously, they released the day before. It was just built completely on lies. And now they've tried to come back, make a Kickstarter, and are doing this whole shtick about our number one focus now is on honesty and transparency and professionalism, which basically is just saying they weren't previously, which is a weird fucking cell phone, isn't it? To come out and basically say, oh, you can trust us now, because now we're going to be honest, as opposed to before, which the implication even is in saying that we were just liars the whole time, which you provably were anyway. So it is what it is. If people are familiar, they're familiar. And obviously they've posted a Kickstarter saying that if people pledge, $15,000, I think it is US, but I think they're using Singaporean dollars, so works out at like 20,000 Singaporean dollars. Because obviously Russian company, they're not operating in Russia because, there's problems with that. Then they're going to come back, and they're going to come back with this game called Escape Factory, which is basically like $200 worth of assets in a little game, which is fine, I guess. But, why would anybody fund this? If this was just on Kickstarter, maybe people would fund it. But with the history of your company and everything, it just makes no sense. Nobody's going to do it. And obviously raises questions. Why are you doing this instead of just posting an early access game on Steam, selling what you already have, and then, succeeding based off your own merit? But obviously it's because they're trying to take money from the public again. And they've been posting repeatedly on their social media, and there's just been some funny shit happening. So they've been trolled because obviously somebody pledged like $10,000 or whatever to basically have dinner with the team, which is one of the, if you've not seen, if you pledge $12,000, you get to have dinner with the team, which is amazing. Somebody pledged on this, limited quantity, 10 out of 10. Jesus. And then they took it back because they were just trolling. Because obviously how Kickstarter works is you pledge, the money is never taken out of your account until the actual Kickstarter finishes, because they run on all or nothing campaigns. So basically if it doesn't reach the goal, then no one's pledges get taken. They all just basically vanish. No money actually exchanges hands until the end of the pledge, until the end of the project reaches the funding goal, which has always been kind of like a weird thing anyway, because it essentially incentivizes people that are running Kickstarters to lower the price cap to what they don't need, like an amount that would be insufficient, just to make sure they secure some funding, which obviously then raises issues like, well, if you say you need 15k but you actually need 20, and then you get funded the 15, you can't finish the thing, and then you essentially have lied and stolen people's money. But that's an aside. That's just one of the big issues with Kickstarter in general. But basically, obviously, somebody trolled them here. He said, this game is going to be so great. It just dropped 12 bans for this gem. Can't wait for my dinner with the unpaid volunteers. Fntastic 2.0. Subscribe to @Lurt Group, by the way, giving himself a shout out. And then the Fntastic people posted saying, some of you may have noticed a recent decrease in our Kickstarter total. In line with our commitment to honesty and transparency, we want to clarify the situation. It's all public info. You can fucking see it on Kick. You can literally see the funding's gone down. So it's not really something you need to be honest about. It's come to our attention that large donation was made as part of a troll attempt. For the safety of our project and its future, we made the decision to refund this donation. While this presents a challenge, it's just a small bump in the road. You made no decision at all, because that money would never have taken out anyway. That they would have never left that pledge up for the entire time. And even if it did, if the program closed with like a success, they'd have cancelled it, and then you wouldn't have got the funding in the first place. So the idea that you've made the solid decision to refund this is just like, it doesn't matter. You wouldn't have got the money anyway. While this presents a challenge, it's just a small bump in the road. We remain undeterred and focused on our goal. This will not stop us from moving forward. We want to extend our heartfelt thanks to everyone who supported us thus far. Your contributions mean the world to us and remain hopeful for a successful return as soon as possible. The Fntastic team. Now, obviously, they can't return, can they? Because, one sec, let me just move on RuneScape so I don't get logged out. Because the requirement for them to return is for this money. They need this money, or they've essentially said if we don't get this, we just don't come back. Which is... that's not a good selling point, because most people don't want you to come back. But funnily enough, they're just talking fucking shite on their Twitter page, because obviously Sid Alpha's here asking them questions like, you know, have you obtained the licenses for everything? The music in your trailer is Lost in Agadir by Ava Lowe. This music's available via Epidemic Sound. However, usage of music in the manner in which you are using requires a commercial license. In the interest of transparency, you now state you espouse. Can you confirm? Basically saying, you've used this music in your trailer. Do you have a license to do so? And they respond saying, all the music in the game is made by our composer. Trailer is not a game, by the way, which doesn't address anything he just said to you. It's just like, you can be charitable here and say there's like a communication barrier. Not our problem, by the way. Like, it is what it is. If there is a communication issue and a translation barrier and whatever else, like, that doesn't change the fact that what you're saying is incorrect. It just means there's an excuse for it. But basically, what Sid's saying here is, if you have music in a commercial product and you don't have a license for it, which a trailer still is, by the way, it's marketing for the game, then that's an issue, isn't it? Especially if you're saying like, oh yeah, we're being honest and everything, and then you're asked about it and your response is, all the music in the game is made by our composer. Wasn't asked that in the first place. Trailer is not a game, by the way, which, yeah, we're aware of that, but that wasn't what was asked of you. And then obviously people replying to this saying, obviously a trailer is still a commercial product. You still need a license for this music if you're going to use it. But this just goes back to what Fntastic were doing originally, which they never owned up to. They've still never owned up to the fact that there was a bunch of things in the marketing and in the game for the day before that was just straight one-to-one lifted from other companies. Like the Division artwork, Call of Duty trailers, things like that. The Last of Us logo. Like, they basically just took other people's stuff, changed it either in very minor ways or almost not at all, and then just ignored the fact when people were like, that's somebody else's stuff. Whether you actually used the asset or just remade it exactly is beside the point. Even if it's not like legally actionable in any way, it obviously isn't a good look, is it? It looks like you're massively fucking incompetent or malicious, and it doesn't matter which one it is, because both are as bad as each other as a customer, as a consumer, somebody who's going to use the product. And then obviously people have been asking, you know, I love this comment. They pinned this, by the way. That's the pathetic level they're on. They've pinned either a complete troll or somebody who's just mentally very unwell, because he says, I just bought 32 limited collection hoodies from Fntastic and a couple tees and hats. I believe in second chances at Fntastic HQ, which they've pinned on. This is their pinned tweet. How pathetic, how down do you have to be for this to be what you're pinning on your official company Twitter account? How the mighty have fallen. And then somebody says, why did you ban me for no reason? Is that your maturity? And they just say, you can explain the situation, write us support at Fntastic, which is just fantastic in and of itself. And then obviously there's just this. Every single thing that this company says or does is just, it's just fuel for people like me to just pick apart and laugh at and just question, what the fuck are you actually doing? Because just read this. To everyone who tells us to bring back hashtag prop night and hashtag the day before, now is the time to support us. Join our Discord. If you read English at even a childlike level, which luckily I do, this reads saying, oh, you're telling us to bring back these two games, which we've categorically said we cannot do because we don't own them anymore, despite making them, which is a weird thing we've not even fucking explained at all. You've told us to bring these back, support us, and there's like an implication of this means they will come back, because if not, why the fuck are you bringing it up in the first place? And then somebody says, If I support you on Discord, will Prop Night be reinstated? Have the rights already been returned? Please explain. And they say, we no longer own the rights to Prop Night, but we would like to release a Prop Hunt game in the future. Which is nothing to do with what you've just said, and also has nothing to do with the day before also. Somebody here, Madcore TV, brings this up and says, but you said you do not own Prop Night the day before anymore. Why lie about this? And they say, hello. While we no longer own the rights to Prop Night and the day before, we were the original developers of these games. Great. Who asked? We know you were the developer of that game. Why are you saying this? We're simply asking for your support as the creators. So what's the implication? Why have you implied that there's like... that they can return then? Additionally, we have plans to make a prop hunt genre game after Escape Factory. You're never making the money, bro. You're never doing it. I don't play the lottery and I've got more chance of winning than you have of succeeding a Kickstarter at this stage. And then they get community noted again. Play free now, and then they link the game. And they're just lying again. They're just lying. They just can't stop. Why are you always lying? We would like to address recent misinformation circulating online regarding the use of assets in our games. So this is not just about this new one. This is about their games in general. By the way, new shaker cups. Pixel shaker cups at GamerSups. Link in video description. 10% off. And look, they've even got this weird light up base you can put your cup on. Just amazing. Huge. We'd like to address recent misinformation circulating online regarding the use of assets in our games. We want to make it clear all the assets used in the day before Prop Night and Escape Factory were either created by us or legally acquired. Nobody, as far as I'm aware, was ever saying that they wasn't. So it just seems like a really weird thing to bring up. Again, like they did previously, where they just blame everyone else for misinformation, disinformation, lying against them. And then later on go on to say, actually, we apologize for all that and we admit wrongdoing. But then we're going to go on and strawman about something nobody said about us. Whenever store-bought assets were used, we ensured that the proper licenses were obtained. For Escape Factory, we used assets for some of the VFX and a small part of the code. However, the art and music are 100% handcrafted by our team. We encourage everyone to fact-check before spreading misinformation. And they just get community noted again, because of course they're going to. They're lying. They're just presenting themselves as the victim. As it reads, Fntastic implies that the misinformation being spread is regarding their assets being stolen. However, no media coverage states that their assets were acquired unscrupulously, leading to a straw man argument, and obviously links a bunch of articles to sustain that claim. Somebody asked a couple days ago when their announcement first came out, why did you delete your whole track record? Why have you deleted all your social media posts, your Medium posts, your YouTube videos? Are we supposed to forget about all of them? And Fnac's response is, we admit that we made some mistakes in the past, but now we want to follow the principles of transparency and honesty. We hope that we can prove it. Nothing says transparency and honesty like scrubbing your entire history. Nothing says transparency and honesty than that. Just come out squeaky clean. Yeah, we're just a little company. We've made some mistakes. We're going to make sure you can't go and look at them unless you're doing it on a third party or a YouTube video or something. But we're very transparent, you see. Super transparent. I will say, just to give them the benefit of the doubt on that point, maybe there's something with the whole not owning the games anymore that means that they felt like legally obliged to scrub all that stuff, especially when it pertains to videos on their YouTube channel, because if they don't own the rights to the games anymore, they don't own the copyright, which means that all the videos and stuff on their YouTube channel would probably need to be taken down. But like old tweets and everything, as long as it didn't contain the day before promo material, there would be no need to remove that unless they just did like a blank slate. You know, I don't know if there's a button on Twitter that's just delete all my shit. If there is, you know, we can adequately explain that, I guess. That being said, I have been told that the two brothers who ran the studio, that ran Fntastic, that everyone who worked with them seemed to leak to journalists that they're really terrible to work for. Apparently they've just changed their Discord names now, and they're just in the server, just, you know, using new names, which isn't like the craziest thing ever, but at the same time, like, unless you're trying to hide something or you get away from your history or whatever, there'd be no real reason to do this. If everyone's going to find out who you are anyway, like, what difference does it make? Especially since you have literally admitted to being the same people involved, meaning no change in management or anything like that. So we know you're there. Changing your name at that point just looks kind of weird. This is a classic because this is true. You left the gaming industry like this and you're expecting anything from us. And they literally did. I can't state it plainly enough. it wasn't just like these people are like, some people believe sincerely that these are unfairly maligned developers, where basically they try to, you know, good, honest, hard-working indie developers just try to make a game and try to bring joy to people's lives and you know, try to give everyone a little peck on the end of their penis, just like give it a little smooch. They were doing such good things for the world and everybody that they wanted everyone to get their dick sucked. But they weren't, were they? They literally lied from day one, repeatedly, over and over again, and then at the very end basically said, yeah, fuck yourself then. They just said, shit happens. We're going to use the money. This is all things. I'm not going to pull it up, but you can go check. We are going to use the money raised for a game we are admittedly closing within like a week of it launching. Not even just closing the game, closing our whole studio. And all the money we raised, we're going to use to pay our debts. Which is like, that's some level of fucking nonsense that has almost never been seen in the games industry before. It's like with me covering like Kickstarter scams and, you know, crypto scams and things like that, there's almost never a single point, even during like blatant frauds and things like that, where there's such an obvious moment of just like, fuck you, we're out. Like, that even wows you when you're looking at it, because you kind of knew what was going on. You kind of knew that they were just going to release the game in the state that it was in. It was going to fail and they were just going to piss off, right? But at no point, even during like my 2-year coverage of the game or whatever, and reading into everything and speaking to people and covering it in like dozens of videos, at no stage during that did I ever think they were legit just going to basically turn around to everyone and say, thanks for money, peace, and just leave. Obviously, this didn't work out that way, because after doing that, the media coverage started, like even the big news outlets and things in gaming started talking about it. Steam must have got involved. Their parent company got involved because they were getting a bunch of flack as well. I assume companies that were working with them, like Nvidia and things, were like, our logo is on your fucking product right next to you doing this. Something needs to happen now. There would have been legal implications to this as well. And then they, you know, decided, they're saying that they decided to refund everyone. But if one day you're saying shit happens, thanks for the money, motherfuckers, we out this bitch. And then the next second you're saying, oh yeah, out of the goodness of our heart, guys, we're going to refund everybody's money. Something doesn't add up there, and something stinks, and it's fucking you. You smell like a Magic the Gathering player at your local card shop. I don't know why I'm going hard on Magic the Gathering. I play Magic the Gathering. That's why I know these motherfuckers smell. It is what it is. But either way, I think we've milked this one enough. I'm going to continue doing so because it's content. It's fun content. I love this shit. And I've been involved in this for so long that I am deeply, deeply invested in basically everything that happens with this project, as well as a couple of others that, again, we'll be checking in on pretty soon. Can anyone say Chronicles of Valeria? Let's see how that fog's doing. But either way, hopefully you enjoyed. Suggest me content. Go buy Gamer Sups. You don't have to buy a glow-in-the-dark cup. You can buy a bunch of different drinks. They sent me some more. This is one. We've got Pom Pom Punch. This one looks like a banger. And we've even got sploosh, because obviously everybody knows you need some sploosh in your life. But either way, check the links in the video description. Suggest me content either here, on Discord, Twitter, whatever it's going to be. And I'll see you next time. Peace.